Hey everybody, Doa here. We got a little bit more information about the Gundam starter decks that are being released for the card game and the crossover that's happening between the Gundam Assemble miniature game and the card game. Remember, there's no rules crossover really between these two games. It's just going to be some of the minis included with the special editions of the starter decks, but we got a little bit more info. We got some models to take a look at, so let's dive into it. So first of all, we've got Heroic Beginnings. This is going to be starter number 1. Comes out on July 11th, which is a little bit before the full release for the Gundam card game, about 2 weeks or so before the full release there, I think it is. So expect pre-release events and all that fun stuff happening. As far as what's in the deck right now, I would imagine rarity-wise, it's going to be similar to other Bandai card games that we've seen before, so I will believe that until we are told otherwise. The featured series in this one is important because that also tells us our color profiles for these starter decks too. So we've got Mobile Suit Gundam, that's going to be your blue color, right? And then Witch from Mercury is going to be white. So we've got a blue-white starter to start things off with. And this one, I would guess, without seeing the card list quite yet, is going to be a little bit more on the mid-rangey kind of side of things. Blue tends to be a color that can be aggressive and go wide, but is more in the vein of supporting and stalling in that it rests your opponent's characters, it heals your characters, it buffs your characters, and then you've got white, which includes bouncing stuff back to hand, and then blocking and a little bit of like discard pile shenanigans. But I don't anticipate we're going to see a lot of that in the starter deck. That's more kind of an advanced mechanic, I would say, with deck building. But it's going to be blue-white. If you're into sort of a mid-rangey defensive kind of style, I've got a feeling this is going to be probably the deck for you there. And then, of course, like I talked about, we've got the Gundam Assemble crossover. There's going to be some miniatures that come along with it. But what surprised me is I thought it was only going to be one mini coming with each one of these Assemble special edition starters, but it's actually going to be 3 different ones, which is really, really interesting. They're going to reveal them all soon, apparently, according to the website here. But we do have a look at this one, and we've seen some of these before, but I just want to take a look at it again. This is the RX-78-2, obviously. It's got that nice strike pose with the beam rifle and everything, and I've held this miniature in my hand. It's about I would say it's about maybe 2-ish inches tall or so, and then the base is about it's maybe slightly larger to about the size of the silver dollar here, if you're familiar with late 1800s American currency, which I'm sure you all are. But that's going to be a cool model. I like the classic Gundam pose. I'm looking forward to painting it. And again, like, you can paint it the classic way, but you can also go crazy too. So I'm already kind of scratching my brain to think about what sort of alternate Gundam color scene or schemes we can do. It's going to be some fun stuff with that. And just going down to, again, just the basic stuff. It looks like $11.99 for the starter. Pretty normal pricing. But another thing that kind of surprised me was that the special edition one that comes with the 3 minis is, and I will say, only $34.99 with 3 miniatures included with that. I was expecting it to maybe be a little bit more, actually. So I'm pleasantly surprised that this price point for the starter deck, all the cards and everything, plus 3 miniatures is less than I expect. I expect it to be at least 40. So that's kind of nice because I've got a toddler at home, so I like to save money whenever I can. So I'm quite happy to see it be cheaper than I expected. Wings of Advance is going to be our second starter deck that we'll take a look at. This is the Gundam Wing only starter, which is kind of interesting to do a single franchise here. We've got a couple of those, but it makes sense. A lot of people kind of grew up with Gundam Wing. If you're from like my generation of Gundam fans, it's usually the first one you saw. So I like that they're doing a Gundam Wing only starter. I think it's fun and it calls back to that kind of time. But this one we know is going to be green blue, and so I think what we're going to get here is it's going to be aggressive, but it's going to be aggressive in a kind of a ramping mid-rangey sort of way. So you're going to be ramping with green into the Gundam Wing stuff, into using a lot of breach to control the board, and then blue is going to be a supportive color in that, where you're going to be probably seeing, I'm guessing, a lot of buffing coming through from Tallgeese and its ilk, right? There's some resting, which is nice because you can rest something your opponent just played and then attack into it with your green stuff, get that breach value. So I think this is going to be a very fight on the board style of deck that is aggressive in that it brings out a lot of powerful stuff quickly, but it's going to be not quite go face. It's going to be more like hit the board and hit your opponent's shield area with breach through that. I'm also going to be excited to pick up the special edition one because we get the Tallgeese mini among 2 other ones that haven't been shown yet, but I've said it before. I just think the Tallgeese is one of the best looking mobile suits in the whole Gundam universe. This is a model that I've built many times, and I've done all the weathering and panel lining on the kits for the Tallgeese, so I'm excited to do some painting on the mini for it too. So That's starter number 2. Let's take a look at starter number 3. This one's going to be Zeon's Rush, starter 3. So this is another one that's going to be red-green because we know Zeon is in green as well. And we also know the Shinanju has been shown in red. In fact, it's one of the only 2 red cards that we've seen in the game. So this one looks to me like another green-red, which is fine. This one, I wonder, it says Zeon's Rush. So I would imagine this is going to be designed to be the most aggressive of the starter decks. I think the Zeon green stuff really does support that because a lot of the Zakus are a little bit on the cheaper side, but they pack a punch. Char can be played on a Char Zaku 2 for relatively cheap, relatively lower level compared to a lot of the other levels that we would see. So I would imagine this is going to be just like the box says, right? A lot of low-cost Zeon stuff coming at you fast, and then the finisher is going to be the Shinanju, some of the Gundam Unicorn stuff that's going to come out a little bit later, because we know the Legend Rare Shinanju is level 6, so 5-cost level 6, so that is up there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the actual card list is going to be for this, but I would guess this is going to be the most aggressive starter. And again, we've got, I wanted a Shinanju model, but we've got a great Zaku 2 model here, and you could make it Char Zaku 2, right? You can paint it red, you can paint it green. Zaku's already come in many different colors, so you can really kind of go crazy with this one. But just a great classic mobile suit. The mono eye that all the Zeon suits have is kind of iconic, so I like that. Though, you know, the thing with the Zakus that always kind of threw me was the weird sort of like pipe thing on the leg, which seems like kind of a design flaw in fact, in that it's something that would be easy for your opponent to just like cut. And then I would imagine there's some important stuff flowing through there. I don't know if it's coolant. I don't know if it's like wiring, but that always surprised me with the Zaku. An interesting design choice by Zeon there. I'm just surprised we get 3 minis with this. It's great. And finally, we have Seed Strike Starter 4. Again, we know from Bandai Card Fest info that we got a little bit earlier in the year that this one is going to be white-red. And I think this one is going to be our kind of hard control starter, right? Because I think this is going to lean into the direct damage side of red is my guess, and then combine that with the blocking side of white, the bouncing back to hand kind of stuff with white. I think those two those two colors synergize rather really well to make a control style thing. And you might think, well, damaging stuff on their board and bounce, that doesn't synergize. But you have to keep in mind that a lot of bounce in that we've seen so far in white is bounce something that has X amount of HP or less, right? So if you really want to get something off the field and make your opponent pay for it again, you can use some of the direct damage from the red side of things to get it into range for the bounce from the white side of things. So I kind of like that in that you don't either need to A, completely kill it, or B, have this more expensive bounce. You can kind of blend the two a little bit. But that to me, again, together sounds like the type of thing where you're really going to be focusing on keeping your opponent's side of the board clear while you build a big board that they can't handle. So I've got a feeling this is going to be on the control side of archetypes in card games. Should be fun. But yeah, let's just take a look at the miniature here. Strike Gundam looking really good. It's got those the big fancy backpack that the Strike Gundam is kind of known for. So that's going to be a fun one to paint as well. This one's got a lot of detail. I think this one and the Tall Geese have the most detail of the minis we've seen so far. And so this is going to be a really, really fun one to paint too. And speaking of building and painting things, I have this RX-78 2.0 that I just picked up. The RG, I love the RG line. I haven't built this one yet. And so I'm going to be figuring out how to stream on YouTube. I've streamed on Twitch a lot, but I want to start streaming on YouTube. And I'm going to be building this on stream at some point in the future. And then probably making some like time-lapse videos out of those streams just for the main channel. So if you're excited to see that, let me know. If you don't want to see that at all, let me know too. But that'll be fun as well. So that's pretty much it. That's the information we've got about the starters right now. A little bit of extra information that we get the 3 minis instead of just 1 with the starter like I was expecting. So I am psyched about that. And yeah, a lot to look forward to. Hopefully we'll get more information soon. You know, there's not any like giant events coming in the near future for Gundam specifically, other than maybe like the release of GQucks in the States. I've got my tickets for the premiere already. I'm going to be talking about that on the channel. After I go see that, it's on the 26th here. I get to go see it in IMAX, so that's going to be really fun. What else is there? I mean, yeah, we got One Piece Day coming up soon. I don't think that's going to be a day to maybe release Gundam info, but you know, fingers crossed. I don't mind I don't mind layering things there a little bit. But if you have any speculation, feel free to drop it in the comments. Otherwise, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you on the next one.